The final thing we'll look at today is how do we use a table of values to actually graph a relationship, in this case a parabola or a quadratic relationship. So we're not actually given any x or y values for this particular relationship, but we are given the equation. So we're given the equation y is equal to 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Okay, which is the same as saying 2 or y is equal to 2 times x squared plus 3 times x minus 1. Those are the same things. So what values then do we use for x? Well, if we look at the graph that's given to us here, we don't want to use huge values for x. We want to use consecutive values for x. And since we have both, we have a graph that has both positive and negative values for its x and y coordinates, we're going to go with consecutive x values. So in this case, we'll just simply do -2, -1, 0, 1, and +2. Okay? And so this is just a very simple um, table of values that we're going to use, and we're going to actually use our substitution skills to solve for the y value given the equation above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the workspace that's down here. I'm just going to write out this equation. So y is equal to 2x plus 3x minus 1. So y is equal to 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. So let's just quickly verify that I wrote that correctly, and I did. Okay. So we said first off that we want to figure out this value of y. Okay. And we want to know what the value of y is when x equals -2. So in order to do that, I actually have to substitute x is equal to -2. Okay, so when x is equal to -2, what does y equal? So I'm going to use my ability to use Bedmas and substitute and solve to figure out what the y value is. So y is going to be equal to 2 times -2 squared plus 3 times -2 minus 1. Okay, and so now I'm just going to use my Bedmas skills. So for example, I know that this particular equation, it has no brackets, but it does have exponents. It has no division. It does have multiplication. It does have addition, and it does have subtraction. So I'm going to use my Bedmas skills from left to right, and I'm going to start off by figuring out the exponent piece. So the exponent piece is right in here, where I've got the -2 squared. So 2 times -2 squared, -2 squared is equal to 4. And I'm just going to write out the remainder of the question. Okay, so I've dealt with my exponent. Now I'm going to deal with my multiplication. So y is equal to 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 3 times -2. Well, positive 3 times -2 is actually -6 minus 1. So now I've dealt with my multiplication, and now I'm going to deal with my addition and subtraction. So my addition and subtraction piece, I've got 8 minus 6 is equal to 2. 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Okay? So my y value here for the first piece is actually equal to +1. So now that I know what the value of y is, I'm going to plot that particular point. So -2, +1. So -2, +1 is actually right here. So this is 1 point on my parabola. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to solve for the remainder of these x values using the equation below. So I'll just pause this quickly while I do that, and then we'll continue on. So now that we've done the calculations for each of the x value, and again, all the calculations you can see down there when you print it off or when you look at the PDF version. Now that we've figured out those calculations, we know what the y value is for the different values of x, we can actually plot them. So we've already plotted the first one where we had the x value being -2. We discovered that the y value was equal to +1. When x is -1, the y value is actually -2. So right down there. When x is 0, the y value is -1. When x is +1, the y value is +4. And finally, when the x value is +2, the y value is +13 or somewhere in this vicinity up here. Okay, and so once you have that piece of information, you can actually graph them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and join these lines as smoothly as possible. Okay, and so we'll see how successful I can be. Okay, and so what we end up having here, this is actually a U shape. It is a parabola. It's just that we don't have all of the data for either the left or the right-hand side. Okay, and so what we've done is we've been able to use a table of values or create a table of values given an equation. Again, the equation that we were given was y equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. And then we substituted in value or consecutive values for x to discover the y values, and then we were able to graph them from there.